Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Graduate Student Community Spring Semester Seminar Series. And today we have our speaker Rohan here. But before I introduce him, I would like to introduce the graduate student community to the people who have no idea what we do. And if you're wanting to be part of this community, well, this introduction is for you. Oops. Okay, yeah. So this is our leadership team. We have Rodney and Samuel who are our co-chairs. A lot of the emails and the publicity material that you see on LinkedIn and through emails is done by Avinash, Hafiz, and Swapnil. Anshu and Siavash are our co-treasurers, so they are responsible for all the food and snacks for the semester that are part of our seminar series. And then we have Zareen, Rachel, Vibha, Suramya, and Nurayan as a support team who help us do all the other ancillary stuff and also make sure we are able to run the seminar series smoothly without any hiccups. And obviously, our mentor is Professor Farooq Misri, without whose mentorship GSC would not be able to do the things that we are able to in our current form. So we have regular meetings on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. This is based on the current leadership team's availability of most of the students. So if you want to join and you are unable to do that time, please reach out to either Samuel or Rodney, and we can change the meeting times to accommodate your needs. And so, yeah, and the meeting is done on Zoom, so you don't have to be there in person. So if you want to join these meetings, you can. So this is a QR code for our Engage page. We need to show participation to the student governing body here at University of Oklahoma. So all the funding that comes for the webinar lunches is based on the participation. So your participation is very much needed. So if you are a student of OU or are associated with OU and have a OU ID, please use this QR code to uh, join our page on Engage. And we are also on LinkedIn. So we are just community of a few people right now, but we are building a community with people who are already here in graduate studies or are alumni. And so if you want to have better networking and connection opportunities, please do join the GSC group on LinkedIn. And then on LinkedIn as well, we share the webinar details. So please. Uh, and we are also on Facebook and Instagram. So all the seminar promotional material is also posted out there. So we want to reach as many people as we can. And this webinar series is not just limited to people from OU. We have people from all over the world who have attended seminars. So it's open for all. So if you know if there's somebody who would be interested and would benefit from these, please do be a part of it and share it with them as well. And we do have a YouTube page as well. So if you miss a seminar and you want to revisit it, all the seminars are uploaded, provided we have the permission to record from the speaker. So if there is any previous topic that you were interested in, or you just want to look around and see what topics have been covered in the seminar series, please do so with the YouTube channel. I highly encourage you to be a part of the YouTube community as well. And we also have a Dave and Susan Bird team room as part of the amenities for the graduate students. So if you are a graduate student in the School of Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering or even in the Gallagher College of Engineering, please just let us know your OU IDs and we will provide you access with the room where you can lounge. And if you don't have a space on campus, this can always be a place for you to relax or even use it as a study room in case. And Rodney will be sharing the Google form. So please do sign up. This helps us show participation for each seminar, and that also helps us secure funding for future events. And so if you are online and if you are able to fill out this form, please do so. It will really help us. And so the theme for our seminar series is exploring research frontiers with generative AI. We are also looking at three things: the issues, the methods that we apply, and eventually the applications. So we know that generative AI is reshaping the research industry and our society, but the biggest question is how we do it. How do we do it responsibly and ethically? And so this seminar series, or this spring seminar series, is our attempt towards answering those questions and also looking at the hearing from the voices from the academia and from industry as well. And yeah, we seek future speakers who can address the following themes about how people can work with generative AI and how research issues and methods and applications that arise when people collaborate with research industry and community, and also ways for people to design generative AI initiatives that link academic and economic innovation and social benefit, which is equitable and ethical. So these are the topics that we are interested in. So if you're a part of this seminar series and you think you have somebody who would have expertise or are interested in talking about these issues, we would love for you to suggest, give us the names of the people, and we'll reach out and have them here at our seminar series. Right. And so, sorry, second. And yeah, so for the future seminars, we have Rustam Kangaf, who is co-founder and CEO of iOmniscient, and he'll be talking about ethics of AI. Then on March 11th, we have Vishnu, who is a PhD candidate from the School of Computer Sciences at the University of Oklahoma, who is going to talk about latent belief driven multi agent coordination. And then we have our own member from the leadership team, Suramya, who is going to talk about smart contextual control via Sense archetypes. And yeah, so today we have Rohan, and thank you, Rohan, for taking your time and addressing the students and talking about relationship intelligence and turning organizational networks into strategic assets. And so a little bit about Rohan. Rohan did his bachelor's from University of Oxford and then went on to Imperial College at London, where he did studied finance and mathematics. He has been involved in some of the major financial institutions with Citi and Goldman Sachs, and dedicated almost 2 decades of his expertise working with those companies. And then his current venture, which is a spin out of Goldman Sachs, Louisa AI, is something that he's currently working on. So he's the founder and CEO of the company. And yeah, we are really excited to have you, Rohan, and we really want to understand from your perspective of finances and how people are integrating AI into the world of finance, and how we can leverage the power of AI into developing, as you are mentioning, strategic assets for organizations. So I turn over the stage to you, and it's all
Thank
yours.
you. Thanks so much, Roshan, and thank
Yes.
you, Farouk and team, and the whole Oklahoma group for welcoming me. So I'll give you a little bit of an introduction to myself and then the business that we spun out of Goldman Sachs that we're now building globally. So my background is, as you mentioned, I started at physics in Oxford, master's in maths finance at Imperial. I then spent 20 years in investment banking, 4 years at Citigroup in research, and then 17 years at Goldman Sachs in London, Hong Kong, New York. And it's there that I essentially fell into what I'm doing now. In 2018, I closed a really large transaction for Goldman Sachs. We released about $100 million worth of revenue. And I managed to talk to the then number two and now current CEO, David Solomon, and a few others. And basically, they asked me two questions. They said, "How did you do it? And how can you do it again?" And the how I did it was really right place, right time. I met someone when I was trying to fill up my water bottle in the London office. And, we were talking and he had this complicated position. I said, I think I can find Asia liquidity in Hong Kong. And so 8 months later, a lot of hard work later, we closed this big transaction. So it was, and then they said, okay, well, how can you do it again? Well, what if one could systematize serendipity with data? Because it's crazy that in today's day and age, with all this technology, two adults got to be thirsty at the same time to swap information. Like, surely there's a better way. And so this soundbite traveled. And when David became the CEO, he started something called GS Accelerate, where they crowdsourced thousands of ideas from all over the firm. And six businesses got funded, and one of them was Louisa, aptly named after a Goldman's daughter, uh, Louisa, who married Sachs. So it was Louisa that was the document between Goldman and Sachs. And so that's the business. And really in the beginning, it just answered one very simple but very powerful question, which is who at my company can help with anything? So who at Goldman Sachs can help with dot dot dot? And you could ask, who can help with, you know, um, farm financing in Australia, like leverage loans in Dubai, like an introduction to the CFO of Tesla. You could ask any question. And the answer was always the same. It was somebody's name or a list of people's name. So unlike ChatGPT, which actually can now, of course, trained on everything on the internet, answer things, this, the thing that not everything is on the internet. A lot of things sit in people's heads. And so what we were trying to do is connect the minds of 40,000 people at Goldman Sachs, where some certain data isn't sitting in any database or in emails or in reports. It's sitting in people's minds. And often the best way to tap into that is to have some sort of map of what people know in their minds. And the way one does that is, of course, not form-filling software where you're asked to fill out something and list everything you know and list everyone you know. It'll never happen at scale. So instead, you look at the digital footprints of people. So, for example, if I was doing inflation swaps with French insurers, it would know that I know French insurers as a client base and I know insurance swaps as a product. And so you can very quickly do the same for engineers. If you do React, you're more front end. If you do Kotlin, you're more back end. If you're working with Neo4j, you maybe know more about graphs. So very quickly you could, and with any function, even recruitment, you do more internships. Is it more Asia? Is it more, lateral hires at the executive office level? Like, what is it? So, so we built this big expertise map at Goldman Sachs. We then spun out in 2023. It was a pre-agreed deal that we'd build it for 4 years within Goldman, let Goldman have first mover advantage and then see where it goes. So we spun out and now we have, some fantastic clients globally. Like we have you know, the Canadian banks, we have US banks, we have US private equity firms. And probably our largest client is in the consulting space, so McKinsey, where we not only have all 40,000 McKinsey employees, but we have all 60,000 alum. And this is actually something that even Oklahoma, with your help, could be the right audience here because some of you are Oklahoma faculty, some of you are students, some of you are alum. Um, you've got some link to Oklahoma, and there's clearly a community that's, living way beyond, the time when you stop paying fees or stop attending class. And so the idea is, and for many people, they'll have that moment in Oklahoma as a very special moment in their earlier years or later teaching years or whatever it is. There'll be some emotion associated with that and a sense of community. And so with McKinsey, we created by accident almost because they actually took our technology and started telling us, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? To which we were like, yes, as long as, we get paid to do it. And so we ended up building this platform, and I'll give you a demo of Louisa where you can actually see our instance of it, so you get a flavor for what this looks like. Um, but the main concepts are the following, which is from caveman days, you know, something net new, someone new is it could be an opportunity or it could be danger. And so people, there's this deep psychological reason why when we all get cold emails, we just press delete. Part of it is just it's so annoying and you don't know all these cold emails and all. And part of it is there's a deep psychological reason why someone calls you, even if it's something that's somewhat relevant to you, you're like, no, no, it's okay. Until you have a trust bridge. And so warm introductions and leveraging each other's relationships is one of the key things. So I'm talking to you today because I knew someone who knew someone who knew Farouk, and we're in the same Zoroastrian or Parsi community, which again means there's trust. If you're in the Oklahoma community, there's trust. There's various trust circles that we as people develop. And if you can categorize all of those, if you can systematize them, then you can use them and use AI to connect people rather than replace them. So a lot of AI is going to make us more productive. So two people can do the job of 20 people. So 18 people are going to have to find new things to do. But it's also something where ultimately people trust people. All of you who are applying for jobs, applying for postdocs, I'm sure for the most part of it is you're leveraging each other's relationships and warm leads, and that's how things get done in the real world. And so that's where we are. And I'll just screen share and show you, Louisa. Excuse me on this. So, sorry, here it is. So this is our instance of Louisa. So my company has 50 people, 45 engineers, 5 go to market, and we have about 10 investors who are involved in this as well, including Oxford University and some Goldman Sachs partners and things like that. And so the idea is you can ask any question. Who at my company can help me, you know, get introduced to any company? Like you could say, who's our strongest path to, let's say, KKR or any company. In fact, let me try this. Oh, strongest path to Oklahoma. Is it like that? Oklahoma University?
It's University of Oklahoma.
Okay. It doesn't, okay, it's more like that. Yeah. Okay. So let's just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it might come up with zero, but okay. So for example, John Absher, who's one of our investors, he has a strong relationship with Abid Yusuf, who is in your corporate executive faculty. And like that's just an example. Now, for example, if I go to University of Oklahoma here, we've got information from the website, from Crunchbase, oh no, this is wrong. Oh, I know why. Because this is his actual company that he works at, but he's got an other position at the University of Oklahoma College of Law. So this guy is the chief customer officer at Avetta, and this is the president, and these are all the people at this company. And if I look at this person's, who this person is, the relationship is with John. The way they know each other is because they overlapped in EHS partners for 2 years. This guy's career history was Avetta, but he was also in, your College of Law for a while, etc., etc. So, there's just ways of getting to people, right? And um, so the idea is to be able to ask any question and find the answer and who can help with whatever it is. Now, the interesting thing, like this actually is like the data structure underneath, and I've got a front end to the data structure, which on purpose looks and feels a lot like LinkedIn because, you know, a billion people plus know how to use LinkedIn. But there's a big difference, which is this is all automatically created. So suppose there was a University of Oklahoma instance where you would have the faculty who are, you know, basically like the employees of University of Oklahoma. You've got the students who will be there for a while and then move on. You've got alumni who have jobs in industry and other educational organizations. You've got the board, and then there's many use cases, raising money for Oklahoma, getting current students jobs in current different industries, etc., etc. So imagine having a big list of people, but everything being automatic. So Roshan, for example, our host for today, um, he would have an automatic profile. He wouldn't have to lift a finger. It would automatically come from various data sources that are publicly indexed on the internet. So his career history, his education, his all of this would be automatic, and then he could hide or unhide anything that he wasn't comfortable. So GDP, he has full full control over this information. But the key thing is it has to be automatic for every single person in the instance. Because then when someone goes and says, "Oh, I want to find Roshan," they don't have to like, he'll be there because he's in the system. And that data exists within the system of record of the University of Oklahoma. So as long as we get just a big list, we can automatically create profiles. We can then also automatically create a network of who knows who based on, overlap. So for example, not just saying you two overlapped at University of Oklahoma, that's too big. It's like saying me and Michael, we were at Goldman together, we know each other. We do know each other, but that's because not because we just spent 17 years there, but because for 9 years we were both in Asia. We were both MDs. We were both in the investment banking division from this time to this time. So all of this information goes and helps create those links. And so Louisa knows who I know within the network. And you can do some very cool things like who does University of Oklahoma know across the world, different countries. Or you could say who does University of Oklahoma know in different companies. So maybe there's, any of these companies, right? Like this is my company, and there's only 50, 60 of us. So we can get to people at Google, Goldman, Deloitte, Oracle, any of these companies, Gemini, Info, like any company. There's basically 100,000 companies that we can get to because my 60 people through email graphs and LinkedIn and things know 148,000 people, strong, moderate, weak, any sector, any company size, any industry, any location, all of this is stuff that we can basically figure out. And so that's really Louisa in a nutshell. And then the other thing that is really important is once you have relationships, you got to keep them warm. You got to cultivate them. You got to invest in them. So knowing, like, now no one's going to post. So I talked about an automatic profile. I talked about an automatic network. Now there's an automatic news feed where you can see news on people that I know. Like, not, there's lots of people in this instance, but these are like, Matt Jones, Stuti, Paul Donovan. These are people I know. And so all of a sudden I can see this article on the left and I can write to Paul Donovan, who I know pretty well, and automatically AI write something that I can edit, or I can congratulate him, or I could regenerate this with a prompt and send it to him immediately straight into LinkedIn and send him a message. So these are the kinds of things that one is able to do to keep relationships warm and find opportunities, as well as updates. Like people are constantly moving. Roshan's right now at one university, then he might get a job, then he might move on to something else. So all of these things are important to basically be spoon-fed to you because we can't possibly read every newspaper every day on every relationship that we have, but AI can. And so that, in essence, is what we do, and is something we could do to empower University of Oklahoma to do fundraising, to place students into different jobs, etc., etc. But I'll just pause there and take any questions.
I can ask a quick question. Uh,
Please.
so I could imagine that one of the hurdles you have is the entity resolution, knowing that maybe a person is presenting himself or herself through various ways on various platforms. When we could speak of just one organization, maybe he uses a different username for some meeting, or maybe he or she uses an email ID for some meeting. So, what is your approach for specifically that hurdle? I mean, is that even a hurdle for you, or
It is.
what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's a hurdle. It's become a kind of strength of ours, actually. So, um, we are pretty good. Entity resolution at the people level is something we're good at. At the company level, we're less good at it. But basically, it's always about, um, and we've got to change our approach and do a little bit more data science and AI, depending on the situation. But, you know, Rohan Doctor, Goldman Sachs, by combining those two things, you can start finding people better. And there's many tricks there. Sometimes, yeah, so there's many tricks there that one can use. There's also the problem of duplicates within people's CRM. So you might have Rohan Doctor Goldman, Rohan Doctor Citigroup, Rohan Doctor Louisa AI. It's the same person who's just moved three places. And so often what has to happen is deduplication and things like that. So yeah, it's a hard problem. You only get to 60-70% of resolution. We can't solve everything, but those are pretty good numbers to get to. But you're right. And we've hit all sorts of problems with maiden names when people get married. We've got issues with people just doing first initials and then, oh, just, all these kinds of things. Steve and Stephen, Dan and Daniel, Rob and Robert, all of these things. So there's all of these that we've kind of, thanks to LLMs now, it can look at it and get it as almost as well as we can, as opposed to Word to Vec and other issues, other classical methods of doing things. But yes, that's something we spend a lot of time on and continue to want to make better. And should we do something for University of Oklahoma, Mayank, and we spend some time with you, then that could be a very good approach to entity resolution, solve some of the data issues that not only companies have, but communities have, whether it's a university alum, a university community, a company alum, company community, member groups, there's membership groups like YPO or things like that. Um, Rotary Club, etc. Um, so yes, all of these have data issues. So data and entity resolution is the one of the bread and butter solutions and processes that we use.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you, Rohan, for your presentation. It was really interesting. Um, I have a couple questions. I wanted to start with one so that everyone here is able to, continue asking questions. I don't want to take up too much time. Um, but I was curious if your system now or in the future would be able to handle sort of mutual connections, I guess, like mutual friends on social media. Like, say no one at your company knows anyone that works at Google, but they have a mutual connection. They know someone who does know someone that works at Google. Is it able to make those connections?
Yeah. So we kind of we haven't got to Instagram or Facebook or anything, but from a LinkedIn perspective, which is because this is more professionally focused, although, they're very good relationships on Instagram and others as well. But basically, we do have a Chrome extension. So imagine if everyone in your network uploaded their public Rolodex of who they know, which is essentially, um, LinkedIn connections of like it's your data, first of all, so you're the GDPR right to get that via a CSV download from the LinkedIn application, or there's actually a Chrome extension that you can use that we've built. And what that means is someone like one of our investors, Bo Hartman, he actually has given us 6,000, he's given us a lot of his relationships. We can't go into his email system. We can't go into, but we can go into his LinkedIn connections. And he's got 3,000 LinkedIn connections. Now, LinkedIn is not connections, it's actually your audience because people just add everyone to kind of grow their. It's more about posting. It's become more about the posts and reach and advertising than it is about real business relationships. But we put in some algos in there to figure out of his 3,000 connections, which 285 are strong. And again, like the example I'd given earlier, but let me pick a new one. Like, how does Bo know this guy? Well, in Capital One, they were both in technology, they were both vice presidents, they were both in the IT division this time, and they spent 7 years together. So lots of like overlap in terms of cities and roles and time and company. And they, of course, also overlapped at Naomi Health. So this is a little bit about how we can not only take something like a very broad signal like LinkedIn, but then we can also make it less noisy by figuring out who probably knows whom better.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting.
Okay.
I have a question. I don't know. So, again, a lot of the application is different for different people, right? For let's say, in my phase of life, I was actually looking for people who I can connect with for my internship because I needed some referrals, and it's always difficult to find a specific person in that company through common connections. Is is there a consideration for like what specific need you have for that connection? Because sometimes it's not just knowing general connections, it's like very specific to a specific activity that you care for in that period of your life. So during your internship search and full-time employee search, it's mostly about finding those connections for referrals. But later on, it's like, let's say, as an academic, I want to find other researchers who are working on similar research so that I can do collaborations. So, like, the end application or end use case is different for different aspects of your life. And so I don't know how is it like, is there a way for Louisa to understand the need that the current need is for me to develop this relationship for this specific reason?
Yeah, so for example, when you so there's a couple of things there. So
Yeah.
if, for example, I wanted an introduction to this person,
Yes.
what would happen is I would go here and I would request an introduction.
Okay.
Now, when I press request an introduction, John is the only one in my network that can introduce me. So I'd write why I want an introduction. I'd
Yeah.
say whether it's a revenue opportunity,
Okay.
strategic
I
partnership,
see.
hiring, expertise sharing. And
Perfect.
then even if there's a referral fee or something, buy you dinner or whatever it is,
Yeah.
then you could kind of write that out. So, and
Yes.
then you press request intro and it goes. So yes, this manifests value in different ways to different people.
Right.
And something that's on our roadmap is that you take all these relationships and then you have a target list, which we've got, but we
Right.
actually make it into an agent, which suppose you were looking for an internship.
Yeah.
It'll just keep looking at the network and coming up with one warm intro a day for you to say, ask this person for this introduction, ask this person for this introduction. And eventually you'd get something.
Yes. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else who would like to ask Rohan a question?
Is there going to
Yeah,
be another? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, maybe a brief question and a comment. Thank you, Rohan, for a very good, interesting presentation.
Thank you.
I was wondering whether, because it's very heavily LinkedIn based, to me, it looks like. So, LinkedIn may be interested to buy your product. So, I don't know, like, I don't want to make you disclose that, but can we consider this as some sort of a plugin for LinkedIn? There is a potential, it seems to me.
Yeah, I mean I would love for LinkedIn to buy us one day, but it is kind of like a LinkedIn for a private community or a private company. It's like an enterprise version of LinkedIn. And LinkedIn have just kept it, they've got a B2C platform where the whole world, and they've got a huge, 11, whatever, 13 billion revenues per year, let alone valuation, just revenues. Imagine the valuation must be it's crazy what their valuation. I mean, of course, they're part of Microsoft, so it's all held there. But the idea is that they started one day 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And so they've got to where they've got to. Now, the idea is, can this work at the organization level? So one of the goals we have is, look, every company has or every university, or every organization has a directory of some form. And that directory is it's like the yellow pages, it's like an old, it's just like names, photograph, phone number, email, not much. And we are kind of trying to make it multi-dimensional to say, instead of a corporate directory, have a professional network, like almost like a private LinkedIn, where you have automatically information on the person, automatic profiles, automatic networks, automatic news. So it's a multi-dimensional directory where now you can really leverage each other's expertise and skills at University of Oklahoma to say, hey, we really want to know who knows this or who knows that, or where can we get someone from industry, from the aerospace industry, to come and talk to us. Oh, Mayank has that relationship, or Avinash has that relationship, or Janet has it, etc. So people are just connected to people, and we've got to use that strength to get things going.
Yeah, just a second question, like which was very related. Like this is a good answer. Like hopefully you will get. I don't know. Like if you are interested, you would be developing this independent, and if you are interested, maybe a good offer comes. LinkedIn would be interested. I hope so. They will be very lucky to get your product because it looks like more value than I subscribed for a while their premium version, like where
Yeah.
they take some money and all, and then even my contacts, many of my students and even relations, they tried that and they told that it doesn't have much value, so they discontinued their subscription. So I
Yeah.
think this type of thing will be more useful. Like
Yes.
definitely there's something wrong in LinkedIn why people don't stick with their subscription. But I see more value in this actually. So that is
Yes.
one point. But other comment was that one challenge which many of us have faced. There are some people who just don't, particularly the people who have great profiles. One problem we face is that people who are starters and those who want to increase their first 500, they are more responsive. Like if somebody sends a request, they will respond immediately because they want to reach that 500 or 1,000, right? But those who are saturated, high profile, successful people, those who actually really matter, they just ignore. Even I do that. So I will not just even bother to see a connection request by somebody. So
Yeah.
maybe once in 2, 3 months, I may look into it and go. So is there any way to help people overcome that challenge? And maybe it is something which is not in LinkedIn also, one should be able
Yes.
to add and act like a force multiplier, so to say. So that may add value to your add-on product, if I say so. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the LinkedIn is it's got the best list of people in the world. It's got the best list of companies. Everything as small as Louisa AI or as big as University of Oklahoma. But the weakness you correctly point out is people have just connected with everyone as a free optionality. So it's not relationships, it's an audience. And they're just trying, and it's free optionality. Might as well add this Vietnamese engineer. I never know when I might need a Vietnamese engineer, or I might need him for. So you do all these things. And so when people come to me for LinkedIn connection, I'm like 19 out of 20 times I won't know the person. And not so people don't even do it anymore. LinkedIn is not a platform, it's not a marketplace for introductions. It's a marketplace for information because people are posting. It's a marketplace for looking at profiles. It's a marketplace for looking at company information, but it's not for introductions. So if we can be a marketplace for introductions where you don't even have to say that you know each other. You've got to prove it. It's got to be in your email graph, or you've got to have some overlap, or you've got to, that's the kind of platform that we're trying to create. And even for something like McKinsey, for example, and this is why I think one of your, if you all could, as a next step, introduce us to the University of Oklahoma Alumni Center, then or work, that would be interesting because, you know, think of the university as a business. And I know it could be state university, could have private elements, but you know, the university is there. It takes money from students. It pays the faculty. It looks after the grounds and the buildings and all of that. And the reason why, so and it could be for profit or not for profit. And at the end of the day, the reason why people are willing to spend whatever they're willing to spend, or the government's willing to spend what they spend on it, is because the people come out of it and hopefully over time make more money than the cost of their university education and all the rest. And so all of these things require human relationships. From only if University of Oklahoma has a great reputation and the students go on and do great things at jobs will people hire them. And one vintage of alumni will hire another vintage of alumni and all the rest. And only if that happens will students apply to this university to be able to go through that, upskilling kind of roller coaster or whatever. So, all of this is happening, but one of the missing links is this is all about warm intros and business is and education and jobs and fundraising and all of these things are based on who knows who and keeping the community together. So, again, this is something that's very, our pricing for large scale things is like, how big is University of Oklahoma by student body roughly per year? Like
I
tens
think
of thousands, 100,000, 10,000.
between 20 and 30,000 is my guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30,000 at the higher
Yeah.
end.
It's a big.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about our pricing is $7 per person when you get to that kind of scale. So you're talking about less than $1 per month per person, So it's not exorbitant, but there's one difference, which is you need everyone. Like there's no point having some subset. The whole point is it needs to be the college database that
Yeah.
gives you everyone because the power is in two things. One being everything being automatic so that, you know, Rodney and Roshan and Mayank and all don't have to lift a finger. It's automatically done for everyone. And the second thing is it has to be comprehensive. Everyone has to be on there. Because if one person's missing, then Roshan goes to find that person, they're not there, he doesn't come back again. But if they are there and it's the canonical source, then it becomes interesting. So these are the kinds of experiments we're running. We don't know all the answers, but we're constantly working with some of the biggest companies, biggest universities. I went to Oxford. I've got Oxford Angel Fund, Oxford University funding us. We're, of course, trying to talk to them about the Oxford alumni, population. Everyone talks a big game about, oh, you don't go to Harvard for the education, you go for the network, or don't go to Oxford for the education, you go to the network. But then there is no network. I've got you know, it disappears very quickly. And so really to monetize that or to keep that going, you need to have a private and LinkedIn group isn't enough because there's so much noise.
Yeah.
And it's become an advertising platform, not a
Yeah.
introduction platform. So look, there's a lot going. But guys, I've got to jump for the next meeting. But I really enjoyed speaking with all of you. And
Absolutely. We also had so much fun. I mean, the
thank
demonstration was really something that is interesting because as you have already mentioned that how the platform has become sort of static in the sense that the connections are not real, and eventually, as uh, Dr. Naidu was saying, that the first conversation barrier is so difficult to break on LinkedIn at this current moment because there's so many people, everybody sending connections to everybody. And I think you had given a direction that obviously I have some idea for.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, like the thing that people were looking at. I'm at the board of advisors. I was part of the board of advisors, and they struggle with maintaining alumni relationships. And they reach
Yeah.
out to these alums saying, would you be interested in contributing to the university where you graduated from, while they have never fostered that relationship ever. So I think if you want, I think with Farooq, I can help you find that connection, at least within the School of Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering, and hopefully that translates to bigger connection so that you get OUS. At least you can have a look at it in that sense.
Good. Good.
Perfect, Ron. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
See
you.
you
Thanks a
all.
lot.
Bye.
Appreciate the efforts. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Farokh,
Thank you very
Hayes,
much.
take care.
Take
Thank
care.
you.